Welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be looking at the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT and we're going to take it for a consumption test, meaning we're going to drive this on the Autobahn at 100 kilometers an hour one way, which it's going to be around 62 kilometers, and then the other way we're going to drive normally how we would in winter condition. So hopefully you guys do enjoy the video and let's talk all about the car while also driving. So we're going to drive around 55 kilometers now. We are on our way now and we're going to put the speedometer up to 100 kilometers an hour. That's what we're going to drive at on the first way, and the other way is going to be normal driving. Then we're also going to reset our board computer. So we're going to put that and we're going to press on set back. And that's going to allow us just to see the most accurate data by Ford themselves, to see what the car claims we actually used. And then obviously at the end we're also going to do a charging speed test to see how fast the car was able to charge. And we also turned off everything when it comes to the climate control, so we're going to be as most efficient as we can be basically. So while we're cruising, let's talk about the interior and also the price. So the car starts, the GT variant, at 77,300 euros. That is a fairly hefty price, but with that you get a lot of horsepower, 487 and 860 Newton meters of torque, which is quite a lot. The interior quality is also fairly nice, but it's not much different than compared to the normal Mach-E, which is a little bit unfortunate. We did already take a look at the previous Mach-E, or the normal Mach-E with the rear-wheel drive system. In here, because it's a GT variant, you for instance get a GT logo on the center console right there. That's the only thing that you notice when you're looking at a GT variant, and also the seats. So quality, like I said, in here is fairly decent. Everywhere you touch is good quality. You have like the suede leather down here, or not suede, but suede fabric in there, which is very nice. You have the B&O sound system, which doesn't sound too bad. It's also not the greatest, but doesn't sound bad. And everything that you get in here basically gets standard. The only thing that you can choose between is if you want the 20 alloy wheels on the outside, if you want them in black or not. It's going to cost you 450 euros extra, I think. And you also have an option between 7 different colors. We have the orange color on here, which in my opinion looks pretty cool and makes the car stand out quite a lot. Quality-wise, like I said, fairly decent. You get heated seats in the front, and also the seats in here, like I said, those are special with the GT variant. Those are like these bucket sporty seats, which are pretty interesting, and they actually feel fairly comfortable. You don't get any massage function or heated cool seats in here. So you have this big infotainment display in the middle, which allows you to basically have all the information that you need, and you also have this like cool steering wheel in the bottom, which might not look cool, but is actually very practical because you control most of the infotainment stuff, like air conditioning and also your volume through that, which is pretty nice. You don't have any, or you do have inductive loading in the center here, but only for the left side, not for the right side, which is fairly big space, USB-C and a USB down there, 2 cup holders and some more storage space below that GT center console. And for the back, you don't get any heated seats, you don't have air conditioning which you control yourself. You can only change if you want it on or off. But the seats in the back are also fairly good, and you got plenty of space in there as well. So we did just turn off the Autobahn here, and we drove a total of 59 kilometers, just about 59 kilometers. And to get you just a little bit of reference here, we only had a temperature of around 4 degrees, and it was raining fairly hard, just a side note. If we look at the board right here, because we do have a board computer, we set that up obviously before we drove away. So as you can see, we drove a total of around 59 kilometers, or 59.8 kilometers. This is the value that we had in those 40 minutes. 23.0 kilowatts now. It doesn't actually show the after the dot, so we don't know if it's 22.7, 22.6, something like that. But between the times there was actually a 21 or 22. That's what you're going to be averaging at. That's going to allow you to get almost 400 kilometers of range, because we do have a 90 watt kilowatts an hour battery in here. Well, the battery is 91 kilowatts an hour in the things that you can use, but in total it's going to be a 98.7 kilowatts an hour battery, so a very big one. You can see 1% climate control. We had 92% with the drive, 4% from other stuff, so infotainment stuff like that, and 3% from the outside temperature. But how was my driving style? That was actually perfect. So speed was at 95%. If we probably would have driven like at 90 kilometers an hour, that would have been up higher, and we probably would have gotten this down to around 21 or 22. So we're going to go back now, drive at around 130, have the air conditioning on how we like it, and yeah, let's see how that goes. Okay, so turning onto the highway now, we're going to reset that board computer, and you can see we also did turn air conditioning on to basically auto, so 22 degrees. And yeah, that's what we're going to see. And let me also quickly talk about the acceleration a little bit here. 4.4 seconds from 0 to 100. The car is going to weigh in around 2.3 tons, which is, well, very heavy. It is also going to allow us to get this car, like I said, from 0 to 100 4.4 seconds, and top speed of 200 kilometers an hour, so actually not that big, well, not that much, which is a little bit unfortunate. So another thing that just activated is the Blue Cruise, which is the first in the whole of Europe. Basically what this does is it allows you to take your hands completely off the car, of the car. Wow, that would be insane. Of the of the steering wheel for however long you want until Blue Cruise isn't activated anymore, because that's autonomous driving level 2+. So this is the first in Europe that actually works, and it works up to 130 kilometers an hour, and it works on 95% of the Autobahns. If you buy the car, this comes with every new Ford Mustang, basically, Mustang Mach-E, but it's going to be a test phase of 90 days, and afterwards you're going to be having to pay, I think, around $24.99 per month, which is one of those paywalls, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But it does actually work wonders. I drove it from Cologne to Kassel, and it took a total of, well, I was behind the steering wheel for like 30 minutes, because you can do this. And in the meantime, I can talk to you, I can move my hands, I can edit a video. Obviously, you can't do that, but it works really nicely. And obviously, if you want to change lanes, you're not going to be able to do that with the Blue Cruise. You're going to have to indicate, move to the left, and it's going to pick up fairly quickly again. Okay, I'm on the lane again, so let me put Blue Cruise on again. And this really is fairly nice. So, like I was saying, you have a fairly practical car as well. The car is going to have 402 up to 1,420, right?
Yes, sir.
Of trunk space, which is quite a lot for the car. And you also have, well, the capabilities of using that in the city for some nice shopping sprees, whatever you want, so you can put quite a lot of space in there. With the car also being fairly, fairly fast. You also have the Mega Box in the front, which is nice. That's going to allow you to have 100 liters of a frunk in the front, which is quite nice. That thing is going to be allowing you to put most of your cables in there and stuff like that. And just in general, the GT variant from the outside looks very, very nice. I really like the aerodynamic touches they did to it, like the front splitter as well, and also the the fake grille in there. Looks a lot better than the Mach-E, normal Mach-E.
Active Aero.
And it does also have active aero. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So let's do some more fast driving here and put it onto the time lapse. So not fast driving, it's 100, 120, 130. That's what we're going to be driving at. So what did we get from driving a little bit faster, around 130 on average, with obviously the air conditioning on as well? We got 27 kilowatts an hour. It took us a total of 30 minutes to drive 56.9 kilometers. That is a total of around 10 minutes quicker than we did on the previous run, so the one that we only drove 100 kilometers or kilometers an hour. And you can definitely see 12% was from climatization, so if you turn that down, you would also get another around like 2.8 kilowatts an hour. You would have to deduct that, so 25 kilowatts an hour. That's only 2 kilowatts an hour more than how much we drove with the 100, so actually not that bad. That's going to get you a claimed range of like 350, something around there, which is actually not bad if you're driving on the Autobahn. It's also winter condition, only 4 to 3 degrees outside, so actually fairly cold. Let's also see what we got from charging. So claimed is a range, or claimed is from 10 to 80% in around 45 minutes, because it only loads at 150 kilowatts, which is not that great. If you look at what we got, we started at around 30 something percent. Currently it's at 36 because it's above that 80%. And you can see loading curves went up to 126.3, and then it slowly went down. It was fairly smooth at around 82 kilowatts, and then it went down, and now we're down there somewhere at around 36. So you can see it took us a total of 39 minutes to get from around, I think it was 27% up to around 80%. So not too bad. If you obviously are below that, if you drove a little bit and then you're that 10%, you're obviously going to be able to get that 45 most of the times, as we did on the Audi e-tron, for instance. But that was the 800 volt technology, but still not a bad value. So what is my final verdict on the car? Well, the car I really like the optics of it, of the GT variant. Obviously going to cost you quite a lot with that 77,000 euros. But the range is also fairly good. Obviously, if you want the most range, you're going to have to get the one with the rear with rear-wheel drive, that's going to give you quite a good amount of range. But in here you can see this car is, well, it's fairly fun to drive. If you saw in the video, it does obviously doesn't have that greatest power once you're getting above that 130. After then, up to its top speed, really does take a long time. Doesn't feel like it has 487 horsepower, but especially as a low range, you can drift this car easily. You can have a lot of fun with it. You can accelerate it quite quickly, and in my opinion, it just looks fairly decent. Obviously, it doesn't have a V8 in it, so if you completely just remove the fact that it's called a Mustang, this would be a very, very good, excellent electric car because it has a lot of purpose. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.